Okay.
See, I got you wrong here, but welcome anyway. I will just swap the name, so Stefan will be Stefan and Fran will be. I don't know what's going on here. Apparently, I'm so stupid hosting my own show here, but here we are. Welcome to both of you. Nice to see you. Before we get started, I was just about to say to both of you, you seem to be the most sought after ERP MIS solution provider in the global printing industry these days. I mean, Label and CERM seems to be like on everybody's lips and partnerships and everything like that. How is that?
I think it's a very good question. We feel pretty much the same right now. That's why we are very, very busy. You know, with Label Expo coming up, we are all excited and busy with preparing anything. And as we will hopefully see in 3-4 weeks from now, we have quite a good presence there with a lot of our partners. So it seems there's an interesting market which we believe, of course, it's not driven by CERM, it's just by the market requirements. I think it's just a new equipment, like you and I, Morten, we talked about this before. It seems that the label world gets more digitalized than it was before. So I think it's just by the fact of having new presses, new equipment, new finishing capabilities, the capacity of doing things different with labels and folding cards and packaging just drives this. And I think we're feeling in quite a nice spot there, being in that label market, which is not always easy because it's a challenge, because we're growing quite fast, and that's not always easy to organize, but we are quite pleased to be in that position because it's, as you said, it's right nice to be in a market where people have a demand and appreciate the talk track, like we heard earlier from Christoph. It's about you need the right tools for the right tasks, and I think we can just sign on that. That's 100% clear.
Really. But Fran, maybe you can ask, is that pronounced correct? Because I'm not so much into the Belgium kind of saying things or the Benelux kind of thing. I was just wondering if you look at the success of CERM and that you're growing so fast right now, do you think it's because the focus you have? Because I mean, if you look at the two first presentations we had today, they were like everything in a box kind of thing, right? And then when we talk to you, I mean, you're focused extremely much on labels only, right?
And you mean this is like the success from CERM?
Yeah, I'm just asking you if that is part of it. The focus. I mean.
It might be, yes. I think Steffen is the best one to answer the questions on how this is our success, but I think it will be.
Yeah, we believe so, to be honest. To be fair, I think over the years it's shown that focus and specialization is really the right way forward. Again, hats off to the people at CERM who decided this, I think 20 years ago, way before Fran was born and before I got involved. But I really think so. It's because it gets more specialized everywhere. Also the printers, if you visit so many printers, you see that if they do specify, they're very highly automated and highly specific on their needs. And I think that's where we are in a lucky spot today, when they decided, I really think over 20 years ago, when they said, let's stop on the commercial side on other things, let's focus on labels, then on flexible packaging, and then of course afterwards on the folding carton stuff. But we really think so. It's a nice reason for success. Yeah.
But I can't help think about, because I was visiting one of your customers in Grand Rapids, Advantage Labels, almost a year ago now. And when I talked to the company and I tried to understand, I can tell you something that might actually encourage you to do it even more what you're doing. Because he said to me, when he was looking into buying an MIS system for his label business, he's a label only, right? He basically said that, okay, I wanted to do my job thoroughly. So first they drawed a huge map of all the processes in the company that filled the entire floor of the office, which was quite amazing in itself. And first they started to develop their own software, and they realized that this is too complex, this is too much time going into it. And then they said, okay, if we're going to buy something, we need to buy the right solution, and we have to get in contact with vendors that can actually show why that solution is right. You guys, you went into that company, and in one day, with all the preparations you've done, you convinced them, because all the other vendors came, multiple people stayed there for a long time, trying to, get under the hood of the thing. And for me it was just like a kind of a testimonial to that the way that CERM is handling also the, let's say, the analysis process and the understanding of customer need is, and again that is back to when you focus on one thing, you have domain knowledge, right?
I would agree. It's 100% right. It's only nice to hear. And then that's also what we try to really do today in our world. We try to sell to our sweet spot customers what we also heard in the earlier interviews. It's if you can do that, then of course your life will be way easier because you do 100% only this. And that's no disrespect to anything else. There is need for a wide range of MI systems in other areas as well. But we all know it's so difficult with the different process to do it all. And we see that, and we are quite happy. That makes our life easier in implementation, in supporting, and also in the sales process because you go there, the people, we do nothing else. We don't need to understand how a newspaper press is set up or an inkjet device of 3-5 meter wide. We don't need to know, right? We really do this, and that's, I think, it's one of our biggest strengths, and it helps to scale, and it helps also to make our customers at the end better, to be honest, and together, of course.
And still you have chosen a segment in the industry that is extremely complex in a positive way, because I mean you have the flexo machines, then we have the pure digital machines. Now we're getting more and more into the hybrid machines. Now we're getting more and more into the ECG, extended color gamut kind of thing. Now we're getting more and more complex labels that need a faster and faster turnaround time with more and more substrate. I mean, you have picked an area where the even though that people from the outside may see the label segment as a conservative market, I think it is one of the most fastest changing markets, adapting to digital, to all the digital embellishments and all the features that you have around that. How do you cope with that? I mean, you need. I mean, I understand that you've obviously partnered with vendors, but I take that the information you get from your converters is more important, or?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all we do is coming from the converters, from the customers, right? We're working on a couple of projects where a converter and you know, they bringing us the new ideas of what they do in the future, how they produce things. So is the label the next thing? Is it direct to the materials production? There's a lot of things, but it's always coming from the customers. But of course, the nice thing is, again, if you're focusing on that market, that partners in the fields are, again, always the same, right? So they all get approached in the same manner than we do as well. So we, of course, then go back, and we talk about this a little later, talk back about other partners in industry, how we can do this together. But I would say 95% is coming today from customer requirements. It's just no way that we can sit here and think the sun is out and let's think about a new feature. It's not that way. The market is pushing that, right? And then, of course, the brand owners pushing our customers, and they come asking together, hey, how we can solve this. And that's the whole process. But again, our life is a little easier than for a lot of the other MIS vendors because we only need to do it for one segment. That's why we are happy about it, because personally, with my background, I'm happy that we don't need to do everything because it's almost impossible, because every market will get more specified, more specific, higher requirements, higher optimization. We saw that in the web to print market, you know, in offset and digital 10 years ago, where today the digital printers are everywhere, and this got so fast. If you need to do all of this, it's very difficult, let's say. It's a very big stretch, and we are happy we can focus on the label and flexible packaging and folding carton market and do that. Right, it's still software. It still needs improvement, to be also fair, right? It always can get better. It's never fast enough, but we are working on that, and we are dedicated to that segment. So
perfect. Just for the audience and also for you, may seem a little disturbing because sometimes there pops up a QR code on your faces, and that is basically just an opportunity for people to connect with you directly by scanning this and getting to your LinkedIn profile. So I hope that it will bring some context to you, if not here, then at least during the replays. Fran, I looked at your LinkedIn profile. So what is your role with the CERM?
So I started working at CERM last year in February.
Oh, so you are new still.
Yeah, so I'm work here now like a year and a half. Yes, year and a half. And I started as their BI consultant. So I really started helping the customers with building BI, with their BI questions, which was like a great opportunity to learn about BI, to learn about what the questions are, what customers are interested at. And then I think in December, I got, let's say, promoted to the product manager of BI. So that means that I'm now like more in charge in how we will steer the product and what will be developed and how do we see it for the future and so on.
That
And
must be
next to
fun.
that, I'm also doing production monitor. So that's how
Okay.
my role changed.
But it must be fun to be, because I mean, it seems to me that you have contact both to the customers and then you have to report back to developers. So that is like, getting the right information and make sure that it's turned out to a sellable product, basically, right?
Yeah, that's super nice. And it's both sides, because also I get the feedback from the customers and I can tell developers hey, this is super nice and they're so happy with this. But I also know really what their questions are, and we really act as a smaller team, so we can answer a lot of questions of customers. If we think it's valuable, we add it to the product, for example. And by acting so fast, we do notice that customers are really happy that we can answer their questions and that we can together create like the interesting report that they are really looking for.
Fantastic. And with that said, the stage is yours. You have some presentation that I look very much forward to hear and see. And then again, just for the audience, if you have any questions, you can ask the questions on YouTube, on Facebook, and LinkedIn, and they will pop up here. And then if there's any questions, I will ask them to you guys after the presentation. And otherwise, I'm sure that I have something to ask. Unless you do the same trick as Dataline just did, just move on to the minute, because then I don't have much time to ask you any questions.
No, we will be very fast. We will be very fast. So we decided to not go through the whole system. We selected really Smart BI for a specific reason, which we come through. So we will have, as a small agenda, we'll have a 1 minute, 20-second corporate video, which Sebastian just finished, our marketing expert for Label Expo. So we want to use the platform to first public announce it and show it. It's really short. So I'm more than happy to get your feedback afterwards, Morten. Certainly appreciate it. Then we will talk about 5 to 10 minutes really about CERM, who we are, for the people who are not knowing us. Because we still fear or see and fear that a lot of people don't know us because we are so hidden well in Belgium. And then Fran will give us a couple of slides on why we do BI and how important it gets, and also show us what her and her team doing together to help the customers analyzing what we all deliver from an MIS perspective, if that's okay.
Fantastic. Take it away, friends.
Thank you very much, Morten, and I see you in a second. Now I get a little error here from Google. Sorry for that.
And you and I actually did try this before, right? So we should.
Yes, that's really weird.
Using the Chrome browser.
Yes, it's just saying some errors here.
Maybe you just reconnect with me and then just see if that helps.
Yes, sorry for that. No idea.
No worries.
What happened here? I see you in a second here.
Sure.
Or let me see. I can do the window. I can do that. Hold on. No, it doesn't allow me.
Okay.
I will be back in 1 second. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Thank you. That's so stupid. Well done so far.
You can still hear you.
Yeah. Sorry for that.
No,
it's really
annoying. Are you sitting in the same room or?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why. Okay, so Fran, what did you do before you came to work with CERM? Did you come from the industry, or are you more like a analyst and financial background, or what is your background?
Yeah, exactly. So the industry was completely new to me, so there was a lot to learn on how specific the industry is. But it's very interesting. But before I worked as a business analyst for BMW.
Okay.
So at headquarters here in Belgium. I did some financial analysis in the beginning, but that really wasn't my thing. And then I started as a network review analyst. I really started using rolling out their BI, and that's how I got interested in BI. And then I know that I would wanted to do something in that aspect. And then I noticed CERM was looking for someone doing BI, and that's how I got here.
Fantastic. And Steffen is back, and as you saw, I was playing around to getting the right image into. So I don't hope you feel non-binary or anything like that, because I'm changing your gender and your names. But unless you want to, of course, because we have to be careful
We
today
are
when
quite
saying
easy
about
then.
these.
At least myself. I don't want to speak for fun.
So did you manage to get your screen sharing to work, Steffen?
Yes. Do you see my screen now?
I see something like this. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
All right, take it away now.
Excellent. So we are just going to start this. Why? My microphone.
Should mute your sound when you are playing from the speakers, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether you will hear the sound as well. So let's try this. Sorry for that. We don't hear it, right?
Maybe I have to mute for the video and you have to put on mute.
Yeah. Skip that one. I'm not sure why it is not getting the tone to you, Morten.
When you click on this, it normally says that it can play the sound of the video. But I have a suggestion. We skip the video for now, and then you send it to me, and then I play it in the background from my side when we're finished. And then basically you mute it, just so you know, Steffen. So basically you take it away, and just one of you send the either a Dropbox or a link to me very fast, because we don't have a we have a lunch break after this, so we're not so hard on time with this one. So just do that, please.
Perfect. We'll do so. I will send this as soon as Fran speaks, and then we can play that in. So no problem on that. Thank you, Morten. Much appreciated. So I will share my screen again.
Please.
This time with the right content and without any technical issues. So you can see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. So yes, we talked about CERM. We had a brief introduction from Fran. She's the product manager for Smart BI within CERM. And my name is Steffen. I'm the director of global business development at CERM. With CERM now after 2.5 years. So in January it will be 3 years. And what we want to talk briefly is what we do as a highly overview, because that all builds up to why we need Smart BI at the end. On the bottom of here, that's our pyramid, how we describe and what we do with as a management information system. At the bottom of it, the gray area is our IIoT area, which is the Industrial Internet of Things. And this is, again, linking to Christoph and earlier about the APIs, about integrations, about integration to non-production specific equipment, meaning we can integrate to other vendors, to the material vendors. We can integrate to your accounting system, to your customers or our customers' data where they send electronic EDI orders, and all of that is based on that ground layer. The level above, the blue thing, is the manufacturing execution system, MES, and that's which then adds another layer of integration to all your production operation systems, meaning your presses, your finishing equipment, whether it's Indigo presses, Kaikon presses, Domino, ABG as our new premium integration partners, where we can drive the finishing equipment. We can integrate, of course, to all the pre-press systems, which is mandatory today, which are playing in that market, whether it's ESCO and hybrid mainly, of course. On top, the yellow layer is the ERP part of it. That's where we see our core MIS ERP features, which is everything from estate, warehouse management, fulfillment, invoicing, scheduling, all the standard ERP processes. And then on top of it, it's of course the BI part, which is very important, because with all the layers below, we collect tons of information and all the people using it. But it's very hard to do the reporting and the use of the data without having a good business or BI tool on top of it. It's really like the dot on the I, if you want to say it, because a lot of our customers have tons of data and they do a lot of manual reporting, put it into Excel spreadsheets, and then you spend hours on redoing it and finding the information, where BI is really the key to that, make this information available very short notice and very easy as well for the other people, like especially for management. You don't want to have your CEO, your managers, your finance people to spend hours on creating Excel spreadsheet or pivot tables to find stuff. Now you can really go to BI and Fran will show this a little later, make this available on real time on your mobile phone, on your computers, whenever you need it, and whatever you need on that information. So it connects more or less to all our data we collect on the 3 layers below, and make that available to show to our customers and to management there. Okay. Who we are briefly, I think it's quite important as well to your earlier questions. I was not prepared for so many questions, Morten, so it's good to briefly jump into that, because we also have a very big anniversary already this year. We're celebrating our 40th birthday as a company, and CERM was founded in 1983, back then as an MIS for commercial print. And then to what I said before, in 2006, the owner there and the management team decided back then already to focus on labels and flexible packaging, which again today I think it was very brave in those days. Today for us it's all clear, it's easy, but again back in 26 it's pretty cool. We're really happy about this. Then it was a period we were a part of Heidelberg. We were a part of Heidelberg from 2011 till 2020. In those years we expanded to the US, Australia, Indonesia and China over the years. Then we had the management buyout in August 2020, which is again this month the 3rd year of being a private company again. And then in 2021, 2 years ago, we launched also folding carton. So up until 2 years ago, we really mainly did labels and flexible packaging. Now we do labels, FlexPack, and also folding cartons. We are a worldwide company. We are headquartered in Belgium. As well, as you rightly said, with the stuff in the water here is it's certainly something special. There's a lot of graphical industry companies here in the area, all in the neighborhood. And Benelux, of course, let's say that it's not all in Belgium, but Netherlands and Belgium. We have customers in the meantime in 47 countries and about 430 customers around the world. We have offices in the US, certainly headquartered in Belgium, a team in Australia and New Zealand, and then a colleague in China. And then who we are, what we are today, we are a little over 90 people. We just had another colleague joining yesterday, so that's 91 now. 31 of them are in consultants and customer service support, meaning helping customers to implement, train, and support the system. And then we have in total 34 engineers who are developing all day long on CERM, where also Fran's 2 BI team members are also part of. So it's quite a big technical team, which we're very proud of. And all the engineers are all based here in Belgium, and the consultants are based all around the world, obviously. The most important thing for us is really the integrations. Like we spoke earlier, again, I was not prepared to all of that, but it's really what we do. We integrate to all these partners here and more. We have a new announcement to come for Label Expo, because we see, again, back to your questions earlier, we see more and more demands from customers to be able to have an online platform to make online orders available also to non-customers. We in CERM, we have a tool, it's called Web for Label, where it's like a B2B platform where existing customers of our customers can reorder their stuff, which is fine and it works well, but it's certainly not a B2C thing or to be published on websites where people start selling it. So we are working right now heavily, the teams are working on an integration to Infigo. Infigo is a very strong web-to-print partner, and they also moved into labels probably a year ago, and we will announce at Label Expo an integration to them. We will not just announce, we also show it there, and that will be also added to our partners integration part here. But certainly all those players which you see here will just become more. And again, to your point earlier, Morten, it's all really on customer request. They work with all the players. Most of the people you see here on this slide is really the market leaders in their different segmentations, from finishing, from scanning, from accounting, from pre-press, from printing, of course. All that together makes us so strong as we are in the center of this and working with all those different areas of the business. Big part of it, certainly, again, of our customers. Briefly want to mention them as well. They are around the world, very innovative, known customers, and they really are the people who help us to get better and to improve not just the product but our services, but also the offers for the whole factory, not just for the MIS part, because it's, again, there's no way to see anything isolated anymore in a factory like that, especially if you're so specialized than we spoke about earlier. What we do, it's really like we spoke earlier, focusing purely on the industrial of flexible packaging. What is really different here for us, and that's very different also in the printing market, that we are very product-oriented workflows. Our customers mainly do a lot of repetitive work. Our customers do 70 to 80% repetitive work, whether they do, the beer label for the blonde, the dark beer, or others, but it's always the same label, the same format. So it's a lot of repetitive work, and therefore we are optimized for that to enable to produce, estimate, and calculate those jobs way faster than you would do in normal estimating systems. Or not in normal, but in non-label specific, no flexible packaging specific systems. And just to make this, of course, very clear as well, we are an end-to-end solution. We can offer everything from CRM to estimating the products, the sales orders. We can directly produce. We can produce in the warehouse. We can do invoicing. We do shipment, and we have that web front end to do online ordering as well. Okay. With that, I'm always finished, almost or already finished. We'll stop my sharing, and I will hand over to Fran. If there's any questions from you in the meantime, Morten.
No, I think it's great to get this overview. So some of it I did know in advance, and some of it was new. So thank you so far. I actually look much more forward to listen to Fran than listen to you. So
I'm sure. That's also more interesting, to be fair.
Okay, so I'll try to share my screen now. Let's see. I can share the screen, but I don't see my presentation yet.
that I can't help you with.
I'll just do the entire screen then. Okay.
Maybe the same issue as Steffen had before. No, here we go, so I can see it
now. It should be working. I'll put it on presenter mode.
Yeah, perfect. Good.
And then, okay, perfect. So I will give you an introduction on Smart BI. As Steffen also mentioned, so by using CERM, there's so much data that is collected in the database, and that's really where we as the Smart BI team come into place, because we help the customer in gaining insights in all those data and also in connecting the dots. Also, we didn't mention it yet, but recently we installed our 100th BI customer, which really gives us an indication that customers are more and more aware of the importance and also of the value of having all the data and having all this information just in some simple reports, let's say. So for today, I'm really happy to give a small introduction about BI. So what is BI? How does it work? How are customers using it? And so on. And then it's just a couple of slides, and then we will go on to a small demonstration of how our reports look. So first of all, what is Smart BI? There's a simple scheme in the presentation as well. So it's our cloud-based BI solution, which means that the complete procedure happens in the Azure environment. Each night we take a backup of the CERM database, and then the complete process of loading transformation data and so on happens in the cloud. And then there's like one really big data model that is created by the developers, and that is just ready to use for our customers as an end product. There's different reporting tools that you could use, for example, Power BI, Excel, and Power BI, of course, being our preferred tool, of course. We capture all the business data from CERM. So all data that is in CERM, we capture it in our BI database, and it's ready for reporting. So it's covering all the areas. So it's going from purchase order to production to invoicing. It's all available in BI, and you can create your reports on those data. We do have standard reports. I think for now we have like 17 or 18 standard reports that are just ready to use for the customer. So you install BI, you immediately have those reports that we created. We created it after feedback from other customers, so it has grown over the years to these 18 reports, all about different aspects of the data, different aspects of the business. But also it could use as a self-service tool, because it's so nice that now you can really create your own reports, your own dashboards that are important to you. So that's always what I say to the customers as well. We do have like these standard reports, but it's really important that we can show the numbers that are important for you. So which KPIs would you like to see on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, during your management meetings? I don't know. It's really important that we can show those numbers as well. So you can really start creating your own reports as well. And then, as we always say, we help you in delivering these key insights. You can really follow up on trends of the last couple years, last couple months, see if everything has gone good or there's something gone bad, and so on. And then we help you in supporting making your business decisions. So, kind of as a more theoretical introduction of BI. Here in the screen, you can see some example of some reports. We will see them more in detail in the demonstration I will give as well. For example, this is a customer card, and it's like a report that is showing information that is really of value for your specific customers. So you can see how much did this customer, what is the invoice value, how much did they order, how much did we ship on time, but also there's the conversion rate. So how much of the quotes did really become an order. So that's all information you can follow up if you check on all your customers. There's another one that is about sales ordered value that is really giving you like a forecast of all the orders that are coming in the next couple of months. There's material inventory, because stock management is so important as well. If you're having so much stock, it's really a lot of money that can be lost. So it's so important to have insights in how is my stock value, and did we manage it enough, or is there still things that have to happen? And then another example one is one that is really about productivity of your machines. That's the OEE one, and that's one I will explain more in detail in the demo session as well. So just to give you an idea of what the look and feel is of those standard CERM reports that we have. And then it's always possible to create like a dashboard, which is like a combination of different visuals from reports. But this is super interesting if you have like a monthly management meeting or a weekly meeting, and you have like the same standard dashboard that you would always like to show. You just make one dashboard, you show it each month, and you can see how numbers have been changing. And then, for example, in this one, really in one site, you can see how is my business, how is my company doing. Then, before we go to the demo, so what is our USP or our unique selling point? I think first of all is that we really have an extensive data model. This is like only a snapshot of what is the big data model that we created. There's a lot of work from our developers to create this data model, but it really gives the flexibility to combine everything. So we have so many measures, so many attributes, everything can be combined because of this really big data model that is created. Also, I briefly mentioned it in the questions. We still keep updating and improving the Smart BI tool. It's not that we say, okay, this is the tool and it's ready and you can't ask anything. If we have like these valuable questions from customers that say, okay, but this specific field in CERM, it's super important for me and I don't have it in BI. If it's valuable, we will add it. So there's still improvements. There's still things that can be better. We still are optimizing the product together with the customers. I do notice we already answered a lot of questions, so it's always some small fine-tuning things, but we still keep optimizing and also we keep listening to the users of the tool. Then there's also a customized database, for which I mean if you are using the imperial or metric measures, or for example, if you're doing packaging sheet fed, it's even possible to have your measures in sheets as well. So we can really answer those questions or really customize it to what are the customers' needs. It goes even that far that sometimes in reports we do like measure if you are shipping on time. It's even possible that you define, okay, 1 day late is still on time for me. So we can even customize it this way that it's completely up to your needs and logics. It's daily being monitored. So I have a team that is checking each morning, did all the data come in? is something wrong? Do we have to restart it? And this way we can just make sure that the BI tool is up and running each morning, and there's always live and fresh, fresh data in it each morning. It's, as I said, it's ready to use reports. So these 17 or 18 reports are just ready for you to use, which means it's really plug and play if you choose for BI. So if you're using CERM and you say, okay, I would like to have the BI tool, we install it. We can do it in 2 to 3 days. The reports are published, and it's really just starting the reporting from there. And then what's the strong thing as well is that we are here as a team to support you, first of all, in installation, that it goes as quickly as possible, and also during reporting. So it's not that we install BI and say, okay, now you have BI and good luck with it. No, we really help them in creating reports. I sometimes do like brainstorm sessions with my customers as well. If they want to build something, but that's not completely clear yet what they would like to do, we do the small brainstorm sessions. I sometimes create reports. So we really support them in getting their answers in their data. Then a small demo. I'll hope this will work with the same screen. So you're seeing the Power BI environment? Okay, perfect. So I talked about all the standard reports that we have. This is the complete list, and it's a complete list that the customers receive immediately as well. We have like a demo database that we use to show new customers and so on. And that's also what I will show you. It's too much to show everything, so I'll highlight some reports and show what is possible. There's one thing I would like to mention as well is that it's this Power BI tool. It's a really nice tool. It's super user friendly, and it really you have to get used to working with it. But once you get to know it, it's a really nice and user friendly tool to visualize your data, to have like nice big graphs, but also have those details analysis that will lead you to the answers that you're looking for. For example, this is very basic sales invoices. If you want to just go on reporting only invoicing, this is, for example, what is possible. What you can see is that you have invoice value from this year compared to your invoice value from last year, but also you have it on your representative level, you have it for customers, and you have it for customer groups, product groups, and so on. Just our standard reports are really like giving an indication of what is possible to the customers, and then they can adjust it to their needs. We have like a part of the customers that just say standard reports are enough and I'll use these. And then we have the other customers that really see these standard reports as like a starting point for their own reporting. So what is nice on Power BI as well is that everything is connected with each other. So if I would select, for example, Serena Williams, my representative, I select her, I will see that all the other visuals adjust. So I can see what the invoice value was for Serena Williams this year compared to last year, and so on. So this is very high level, and that's what we do with reports. We do start them high level, but we give the opportunity to go to details as well, which means that you can really see on a customer level, reference calculations, invoice ID, and so on, compare the numbers from this to last year. What I can maybe show you as well in this report, just showing you how easy it is to work with Power BI. If you have all the data and it's available in those, we created all these tables that are ready to use for the reporting. It's really that easy as, for example, let's say I would like to have a pie chart. I would like to see my invoiced value. So let's do sales invoiced value, make it somewhat bigger. And I want to see it on my customers. So for all my customers, customer name. And then immediately the graph pops up. I think, okay, this might not be the most nice visual I ever created. So I'll just say, let's do then just top 10 of my customers. And I just filter on it, top 10, and let's do it based on another measure, invoiced quantity, for example. apply, and then your top 10 customers and your visual are immediately created. So very user-friendly tool, and we have all those measures available that you should just plug in and play and start creating your own reports. So that's a standardly sales invoices. Maybe one more that is about sales is profitability, because that's really the strong point in BI now. We have everything in CERM. We have what we invoice, but we also have the costs of our jobs. We have the calculated costs. So it's really interesting. Are we making profit now? Do we have a real margin that is positive? Do we have a calculated margin that is possible, that is positive? How is our margin going over time? Is it growing, or is it maybe going down and we have to do something about the costs? It's all answers that are laying in our BI reports, let's say. So we start here with, again, very high level. I have all my customers, and I can see here one axis that is showing my the real margin, and one that is showing the here in percentage and the invoice value. So you can see which are my biggest customers with the highest invoice value, and also which are my customers with the highest real margin, for example. Again, always possibilities to go into the details, because that's mostly, I notice, by the customers, if they see something, they really want the details and why is it like this. For example, what we're seeing here, that's strange. It's like a customer that's having a really negative margin. Nice thing about BI is I select this customer. Okay, I can see this is the representative. I can see the reference calculation, but I can also see, okay, there's like 4 jobs that are really causing this negative margin. We see negative invoice value, might something to be checked that can explain this really negative margins. So it's really nice to play around and dig deeper into the details of your reports. There's a lot of reports on sales, on customers, and so on, but there's also very important or very interesting to use BI, I think, for your production. We have several production reports as well, and I think there's 2 that I would like to show. First one is a general report, because we are gathering all this data on production, which is nice to see how productive we were, and it's really nice to follow this up as well. For example, here you see clocking. So how much time did we spend in production? Did we spend on different machines? How much time did the different employees spend? And also over time, how it's going, for example. So in this report, it's really easy. You can see here your machines. You can see how much time we did in production, but also how much time did we do setup, did we do wash up, and also the planned and the unplanned downtime. So for example, if we select the Xicon machine, I can even see, okay, these 4 employees have been working on the Xicon. We see so much hour work production hours, and also we see, okay, setup time and production time is going down in July and August. So it's really an opportunity to get an overall view of how is my production going. Works in the opposite as well. If I would like to check my representative, I can select it. I can see, okay, he has been working on these 4 or 5 machines. How is it going? How is his time consumption is going over time, and so on. There's consumptions there, there's clockings, for my apologies, but there's also consumption. So how much material that we use. It's all information that we have available and that you can learn so much about. Now you can see on each machine, okay, of all the material that I used, how much were good material and how much was waste. Is my waste going down or is it going up for a specific machine? And then once again, possible to select a specific machine, see which employees worked on it and how did the evolution go of waste material, good material, and so on. Having clockings and having consumption means we also can do the same in speed. We can see what the speed was on machine level, over time, on employee level, and so on. Maybe 2 more reports we can do. The first one is the OEE. I briefly showed it in a presentation as well. Because OEE, it's a report we added because we noticed it's like a KPI that is often used in the industry as well. We call it the overall equipment effectiveness, and it's really seeing how effective is your machine going. it's a percentage that is really nice to follow up over time. So you can really see, is it going up or is it going down? For example, we have then here, you can always select a specific machine, but here you can, for example, select the Xicon, and then you can see how did the OEE go? And it's based on your quality, on your performance, and your availability. Or if I go into details here, very availability is checking, okay, my machine has so much capacity, how much time was I actually producing on that machine? Then the other one, the performance, is seeing, okay, how fast was I really producing? So what is the maximum speed, but how fast am I producing on this machine? And there's the quality percentage who's checking, okay, but of everything that has been consumed, how much was good material? So based on this percentage, we calculate the OEE and we can really see how effective it was, the usage of this machine. And then again, we have detailed tabs of each of the components as well, being able to go into details for all the machines and so on. And then, because I could keep talking about all our reports, but maybe one just to finish is maybe an inventory report. So we have both, we have product inventory, so really the inventory of your finished goods, but there's also the inventory of the raw material inventory. We also noticed that this is a report that got really important last year because there was like stock shortage in a lot of countries in Europe. And there were like a lot of bigger companies that have multiple sites who really thought it was interesting to see which material do I have in one site, which material on the other side, and maybe we can go from one side to the other just to get the stock there. So really having insight in what you have available is interesting. Again, this is very high level. Okay, what is my stock value? Is it going down? Is it going up on supplier level and so on? But this one is also an interesting one. This is showing you the amount of stock or the amount of SKUs you have by expiration date. Expiration date is interesting. Age might even be more interesting. For example, I'll change this to an age bucket for material. Oops. Then I can see, okay, the yellow part is the count of materials that is older than 360 days, so older than 1 year. I might open my report and say, okay, that's not good that I have so much material that is like older than 1 year. I can select it, and you will see again immediately all the other visuals adjust, and I have like a detailed description here of all these materials that are older than 360 days. I could even add stock location, and then it's really easy to just check on these materials and maybe use them first when you start your production. Again, this is a high level one. We have a detailed one that you really have your material ID, you see quantity, you see age, expiry date, and so on. And then we also, which is really nice, we also do these like nice to have reports in BI. So it's something we built and we think it's interesting and we notice sometimes customers use it. For example, this is one that is showing you your material quantity, and then we check how much of the material did we use in the last 90 days. And then we check the average material use per day based on the last 90 days. And then we can do like a forecast of how much days of material you still have left. And that might be interesting. Okay, I have a material, I have like 2,000 days left. Maybe that's too much, I have to do something about it. Or you can see that it's like a really low amount of days, then you know it's maybe better to start ordering some new materials and so on. So a lot available in this report, a lot of different aspects and so on. So I will stop here with giving a demonstration of all the reports. So there's a lot of topics that's in it. We have more reports, so we could keep talking about it. But I think the most important thing is that we really try to help the customers setting it up and really showing how valuable it is to just have a look at their data and start looking in what they can do with it.
Perfect. Great presentation. I expected it, so thank you very much. It is running a little bit short on time, but as I said, we have a lunch break just after this, so we are not so much on the exact time. And I got the video that didn't work in the beginning, so I will play that in a minute. A question from my side: the Power BI that you have now shown, and I've seen it before, and it is really amazing what it does. Is that part of the CERM, or is it something that you buy on the side, or how does that work?
They have to buy it indeed as an additional product. So it's not that all customers who are using CERM are using the BI. It's really an extra product and an extra license that they will need.
But does it mean that when you spend time on showing this in this webinar, I understand the value of it, of course, but I was just thinking, is it because that CERM is setting up the data so these reports can be automatic? So if you buy a Power BI, then you basically have that information at your fingertips, or you need to do something extra?
No, you have it then on your fingertips. So the data is all in the MIS, and this is just, I would always be a little more careful about a product. We call it more like a module, which is connected to the MIS system. Okay. So it connects to your CERM database and then exports the data to Microsoft Power BI, which is then licensed and subscribed through CERM.
Okay, great. Because I was, when I see, and it's not because I'm critical about anything, I'm just curious about things, because when I look at the reporting that Power BI gives, and Fran, you did an excellent job in explaining all the values and all the reports, obviously. But I can't help think about that when I talk to at least some converters, some of them are a little bit, let's say, conservative, and they are a little bit, I would say, maybe also a little bit old-fashioned from some of them. And I was just wondering, is this because you see a movement in your customer base moving towards more data-driven kind of information that they need to react on in order to be profitable, in order to stay relevant in the market, or why is it that you focus so much on the BI side?
I think that's it, to be honest. It's really what you said. It's also, like Fran indicated before, just for the pure reasons that the times the last 2-3 years changed so heavily on cost for the materials. Material prices got up, then there was a shortage on delivery. So that drove a lot of interest of, hey, how we can better manage that, how we can better know about this, because by then people found out, oh wow, I really do not know what's going on in a lot of areas of my business, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that helps to drive this. And I think it's a change in mentality that there is more data available to make more funded or grounded or better decisions at the end, to be honest, based on more facts you have available, and the information is there. It's just how you use it and how you display it. And of course, it's not every customer wants to have the full-blown what Fran showed, but a lot of customers focusing only on production data, right, or on customer data, on where you make your margins. This kind of information, I think, that drives it. And I also believe that there's a little more pressure coming to the converters to be able to be more accurate on their estimates and where really make money. Where before, I think 5-6 years ago, people all made very good money and it's all good. I think just with the last couple of years, the pressure got a little bigger to make better decisions based on customers, materials, run rates, etc., etc., etc.
And with all the partners that you also talked about around the CERM, let's say, ecosystem, all the data from these machines, and which is, of course, integrated part of CERM, does that mean that you can basically use this also for like predictive in the sense of investments in the future for what technology that is basically optimizing your OE, or how does that work?
It's not for predicting the future. We don't predict that in the future, but we can certainly bring the foundation to make a decision or make a prediction to the future. Because to do a prediction, you first need to have the good data, right? You need to know what materials works well on what press, on what finishing equipment and where. All of that's just important. But without the data, you can also not predict. But we don't do any of these predictions today within the system. Again, the data is there to make a decision, but it will not automatically predict how this will look like in the next years or so. That's unfortunately not the case yet, but we're always up for challenges.
Sure. Josh Lindsay is asking if this will be viewable later, and I can guarantee that you will be able to find each hour that we cut out into independent individual episodes, so you can look at whatever you want to without seeing all 9 hours in a row. I think that is a courtesy to our viewers, at least, right?
If you have a sleepless night,
maybe you will have a sleepless host after these 9 hours, but I mean, at least. So just a few more questions before we're going to see your film and having a short break. The data, I understand that is, of course, extremely important to understand the OEE. I don't know exactly how it is in the flexible industry, but there's two things that I can't help think about, and that is, like, one thing is, and I talked to you, I guess that you know Anthony Thirlby as well, right? So I have discussed it on numerous times with him about OEE versus utilization. I don't know, is utilization an issue in the flexible industry, since you are focusing on the OEE part?
I think in general, not too much. I don't think it's an issue, really. I think they have, through the fact that it's a lot of repetitive work, I think the utilization is way better to be planning, like in commercial print, where it really goes up, down, there's peak seasons here and there. So I think it's more repetitive, so people know better what comes. If you have 70-80% repetitive business, I think it's way easier to do forecast and utilization than you don't really know what's coming next month, I think. So therefore, I would say it's not a big issue today.
So that, in my logic, that should lead to that if you look at some of the reports needed, and Fran didn't show it, but it might be there, of course. But I was just thinking that if you have a lot of repetitive jobs, you would probably like to have a report stating that the repetitive jobs, how do they perform over time? Because if you have, like, one time you have a high margin on it and another time you have a low margin on it, you have to understand why.
Yeah. And that is the thing that is completely customizable. So we just start with some KPIs, but it's really listening to which production KPIs that they would like to follow up upon, and that is interesting for their business. We even have, like, now the opportunity, which is nice, that they can create or add a known measure. Just if they say, okay, I would like to calculate production duration divided by my total duration, and so on, they can really add a known KPI or a known logic as well. So that helps on following up those specific KPIs that depends from business to business.
I take that and I'm just guessing, but if you are in a larger group of companies and you're using the BI tools, it becomes a very important management tool. But if you are, I mean, there's a lot of smaller flexo printing companies in the world. Do you see also there is let's say, a need of having this kind of information for smaller companies in order to basically develop the company? I mean, I'm asking because whenever I see BI from vendors, whether it's hardware vendors like Heidelberg has done it for years, you're doing it now here on the CERM software side, I think it's fascinating how much data you can get out of something that is, I mean, it's readily available already. But and I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm genuinely curious, because having the data and converting that into a business action, I mean, that is of course not your business, because your business is to make sure that it's available. But in your, let's say, pre-sales, let's say that in your customer service, talking to people, is that something where you actually say, let's look at the OEE and see if we can do something? Or
we show it most of the time, but you're certainly right. A smaller company, depending on their ambitions, I would really say, if a smaller company is not a small company by the same default, right? So there's smaller companies who are in business for 20 years, they run it, they're happy, they're successful, they're making money. Those people don't need a BI, really. They also not. Then you have the other small company, they just got a new business idea, they're driven, they're innovative, they want to do more, they just want to set up a company. It's amazing how many new converters we just saw the last 6 to 8 months, really. So those people are a different generation of people, I must say as well. They drive their business on BI. Without BI, they will not even start, because that's what they need. They're living in a numbers world. They are not like the traditional handcraft printing people or converters like you have in a lot of other areas. They just drive only on the data. For them, it's mandatory. They will not do that neither. But I would say, in average, certainly in the smaller companies, there's less BI than in the bigger companies. Just if you have a bigger company with more than 100 employees, they need that. You cannot, I mean, I would say they cannot run a business without that. Smaller ones, which is the bigger part, of course, it's really split it, I would say.
Okay. And then maybe you can answer the question I asked. Is it something that you actively talk with your customers about when you go out? I mean, let's say that you sell the BI solution. Now you get data. Do you talk actively with the customers what they see?
Sorry, yes, we do that. Yes, we talk about OE. Thank you for the reminder on that. I should have answered that. Yes, we do that. Yeah, that's part of the discussion. And it's really an eye-opener to them as well, because if you show what Fran just showed in details to the customers, they are, sometimes positively shocked what can be coming out there. They have even not thought about how they should measure a press, how they should measure an investment into a finishing equipment, or even how they should value their stock. All of that is just very eye-opening. They still will not do it in the first step, because, of course, in order to do what Fran showed, you need a good base of data first, right? You not do that. You not implement BI at the beginning. It takes you a year. You need data first to do the reporting, to use BI in an efficient way. But absolutely, yes. Yes. It's a big selling point.
Yeah. When you have, I think, well earned and a good reputation in the market for your growth and what you see right now, is this a unique selling point to have data structured for using software like BI software, or is it just because you have that responsibility towards your customers and business that you provide this? I mean, I know there's a few competitors to CERM that are also tailored to this segment, but is it, if you look at your competition, is this something that makes you more adorable?
It's a difficult question, to be honest, about competition. But what we see certainly is it's not the BI itself, it's the detail of CERM as an MIS is able to provide to the BI module, if that makes sense. Yeah, because BI, I mean, everybody can connect the BI tool to something and show some nice dashboards, right? That's not what we're trying to do. It's really the level of detail, and that's where we are really proud about, even without BI, is the level of detail a system does, like CERM does have for the market, very specific, because of course it's nice to show the OE, but you need to have the detail somewhere to report on it, and that information is, I think that's the key on one of the keys to success of CERM. It's just the level of detail, focus on the label and flexible packaging market.
So your understanding of the data and how they are presented in BI, your detailed knowledge about the flexible industry, and your software that is, I mean, every time I talk to CERM customers, they are really pleased with your software, right? And I don't know if it's just because I meet the few ones, or it's just generally speaking. But nevertheless, it's always amazing to meet, because I mean, some software just works in the background and people don't have an emotion for it. But your software seems to make a difference for people. So the reason I'm just saying this as a conclusion of today is basically that this is the combination of what CERM does, including structuring data so it can be used in BI. That is part of the success, right?
Yeah, and to add to that, to be fair, it's also an amazing team with years of experience together who really makes it work, who really wants to do the best for the customers. And it sounds like it was like a recording of Fran, because it's listen to the customers, but at the end, that's the nature here, to listen and to learn and do it better the next time. As I said at the beginning, the software is never perfect. It can always be improved, but people need to be listened and to improve. And I think that's what CERM have proven over the last 30, 40 years now. I think that's the big success, and the team together, everybody working at CERM is making this happen, and that's what we're working on, and hopefully we can keep up on that for a long, long future.
I'm sure you can. So let this be the final words of this session, and then I will play the film that Sebastian has prepared for you, and if you want to have some comments on that, I don't have time today, but maybe tomorrow I could have time for it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the invite, and thanks for playing the movie. Sebastian will be very happy about it, so appreciate that. And I hope you get a nice little break. You must be busy for the day.
It's actually quite interesting. So for now, it's fine. I don't know what it is when I get to my next dinner break, but I think it's great. And by the way, I look forward to meet you in Brussels for the Label Expo. It will be exciting to see all the new things that also you're bringing to market. So thank you, guys.
It will be fun. Appreciate that. Thanks. We're looking forward to see you there as well. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you.
The labeling and packaging printing industry is innovating at lightning speed. There is only one way to stay ahead of the competition: by processing orders faster and better. But to keep up with the pressing deadlines, you need to have one centralized system in place. We've experienced, together with our customers, that there is plenty of ground to be gained just by cleverly connecting all the dots. With our MIS solutions, you take control of the complete industrial printing workflow by optimizing and integrating all process steps in one system. This allows you to keep track on the status of your order from the first moment of customer contact to the point of delivery and invoicing. The results? Your output will increase with at least 30% by improving service, efficiency, and quality. Because our MIS is developed specifically for the labeling and packaging printing industry, it works for the entire value chain and enables you to scale up when needed. As CERM, we are in a partnership for the long haul. Let's grow together in a shared mission to build your smart factory of the future. For more information, check our website at www.cerm.net.